I hear it all the time. I do. When a not real tag team, or I guess we could say not real tag team, a tag team that is put together on the whim, just to win the tag team titles. We've seen this happen so many times. And the fans say that the tag team division is dead because Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, who is not a real team, are now the Raw Tag Team Champions. Really? The tag team division is dead. So, was the tag team division dead when Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins won the tag team titles? Was the tag team division dead when Shawn Michaels and John Cena became tag team champions? Was the tag team division dead when John Cena and Batista became tag team champions? Was the tag team division dead when John Cena and David Otunga became champions? Was the tag team division dead when John Cena and The Miz became tag team champions? This is the shit that I don't understand. We've seen this happen so many times. We've seen this happen many and many times. Where a two random pair would become a tag team. I guess we could say Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler as well. Because to me, they weren't really a team. Seriously, this is the stuff I don't understand when it comes to this fan base. How could you say the tag team division is dead when we've had shit like this happen many of times before? If the tag team division was never dead from that time period, from all those other times, I'm pretty sure even Hulk Hogan was the tag team champion with the Macho Man years ago in the 1990s. Now, I wasn't alive in that time period, but I do know it happened. Because I have looked up my history. But this is what I'm saying. These people think the Raw Tag Team division is dead because Seth Rollins is now a 5-time tag team champion with Braun Strowman, who is now in his second reign as a Raw Tag Team champion, because his first title reign, well, it was with a 10-year-old kid. So I really don't get it. I really don't understand it. I really don't understand the fan base thinking that the tag team division is dead when it's clearly not. The OC are most likely going to win those titles back. Maybe next week or so, the next week or two. They're going to get them back. Sorry guys, there's something on my screen and I'm trying to get it off. But yeah, they're probably going to get it back. The OC. So I don't know why people complain about this. Seriously. People complain for just stupidest reasons. So please, enough is enough. Enough of your excuses. You people should know this shit by now. Instead of throwing temper tantrums and yelling and screaming at the top of your damn lungs, why don't you guys think, oh yeah, we've seen this happen many times before. They'll lose those titles within the next couple of weeks. I bet if a random team, I bet a random team in NXT could just, I'm going to use NXT as the example here. What if Johnny Gargano randomly formed a team with, I don't know, we'll just say maybe Velveteen Dream. Those two guys get the Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman treatment. and they compete for the NXT Tag Team titles, and they win the NXT Tag Team titles, are you people going to say the NXT Tag Team division is dead? If that was to happen, I know for a fact you wouldn't, because it's NXT. Because it's NXT, they can get away with anything. Oh, but the main roster, they're not allowed to get away with any of these silly little tricks. Even though we've seen this before millions of times, we're still not going to accept this stupid booking bullshit. This is Paul Heyman running Raw. And you're going to claim what he's doing is bullshit? He's clearly building up Braun Strowman. This could obviously be done to elevate Braun. Possibly. Does Braun really need elevating with a title? Probably not. But I'm just saying, that could be the case. How else is Braun Strowman meant to be built up to eventually get a title shot? That might have been the answer. We'll just give him the Raw Tag Team titles with the Universal Champion. And then maybe, at some time down the road, they'll drop the Tag Team titles, maybe within the next week or two. Probably back to the OC. And then we'll build from there with the Seth Rollins Braun Strowman feud. Because it's been said that they've been planning... Because it's been said that Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins are in for a feud. So I don't know. So I really do not know what they're going to do here. And this is the thing. I like saying I don't know, because I really don't want to know what WWE has planned. But like most fans, they want to know what WWE's plan is. Or they claim they know. Because they read stupid shit on the internet and they believe everything they read is 100% real. But anyway, that's my opening monologue on the Seth Rollins Braun Strowman main event when they won the Raw Tag Team titles. That's my opening monologue. So let's get down to business. Roman Reigns. He ended up having a match with Dolph Ziggler. Now, this is something I don't understand, because I heard stories going around that Dolph Ziggler requested his release from WWE. Vince said no, and apparently Vince said he would rather pay Dolph while he's sitting at home. So this whole thing makes no sense. If Vince said he would rather pay him while he's sitting at home, why is Dolph Ziggler here on Raw competing in a match? So was the whole handshake stuff fake? I don't know. But he said, but Vince said he would rather pay Dolph Ziggler to sit at home and do nothing. But here he is on Raw. Here is Dolph Ziggler. He's on Raw. One positive note here is that there was no Corey Graves, and this was probably one of the best things. This was probably the best news I heard throughout this show. There was no Corey Graves. Because if you guys know me, I cannot stand Corey Graves. There are times where he's funny, but majority of the time, he's just plain annoying. So Jerry Lawler was on commentary for the opening match with Roman Reigns and Dolph Ziggler. Roman Reigns obviously gets the win here. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, he appeared to attack Jerry Lawler, because Jerry Lawler was going to host King's Court and he was going to have Sasha Banks as his guest. But the Fiend attacked him before Sasha Banks even got a chance to come out. Or before he even got a chance to introduce her, because he was talking about the King of the Ring. So the Fiend attacked Jerry Lawler, and because of what happened to Jerry Lawler, out came Vic Joseph, the commentator from 205 Live and NXT UK, to call the rest of the show. And I love Vic Joseph. In my personal opinion, I actually really like Vic Joseph. I think he's a really good commentator. He did a really fantastic job. And this is the one thing I actually want to mention here. For all these segments, the commentators were actually talking about what's going on in the ring. They weren't, like what Corey Graves would normally do. He would go on into a trance and talk about other random spiel. These guys were talking about matches. Renee Young was still there. She was partially playing the heel commentator. Partially. She was still sort of babyface, but she was going back and forth. So we had Ricochet and The Miz take on Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin, who has now removed his suit and tie, who has now removed his suit attire. He's now wearing a singlet. Finally, that could have been why they've kept Baron Corbin on TV for a while, probably to find this guy some new clothes to wear. Baron Corbin had no problem wrestling without a t-shirt on in NXT. Because I remember him wrestling shirtless on NXT. But Ricochet and The Miz get the win in this tag team bout. Becky Lynch said some words about Sasha Banks, and I'm really enjoying the Sasha Banks Becky stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this feud, but we'll get more onto Sasha later on. Braun Strowman battled AJ Styles for the United States Championship. Braun Strowman ended up winning by disqualification because the OC got involved when Braun Strowman was about to become the United States Champion, which led to Seth Rollins coming out to aid Braun, which ultimately led to the Raw Tag Team title main event. First round match of the King of the Ring, ladies and gentlemen, we had Samoa Joe take on Cesaro. Samoa Joe got the win with the Kukina Clutch, tapping out the Swiss Cyborg. These two guys are heel, and I don't understand why you have two heels versus each other. Elias had a farewell musical performance. I don't know what does that mean. Does that mean he's dropping the musical gimmick? I don't know what that means. But it was crashed by R-Truth, who on 3 occasions attempted to win the 24/7 title, but ultimately failed all 3 times. Rey Mysterio addressed his future, and apparently he's thinking about retirement. That's from what I got from this segment. Now it's wild card time. Well, we've had wild cards from the beginning anyway, from Roman and Dolph, because they're both SmackDown. But it's wild card time for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, who shouldn't even be on Raw, period. If you're a champion that has the word SmackDown on it, you really shouldn't be on Raw. But of course, they're feuding with a Raw team, so of course you got to have something like this happen. So you got the New Day taking on the Revival. The New Day won by disqualification when another wild card in Randy Orton appeared out of nowhere, and teamed up with the Revival again to beat down on the New Day, which led to a really cool spot where the Revival would normally go in their position for their Shatter Machine, but they did the Shatter Machine, but Randy Orton hatches Xavier Woods into an RKO. So I guess you could call it a Shatter RKO machine. Or you can just call it a Shattered RKO. Pretty cool, I will say that. That was a pretty cool spot. So we go from something to pretty cool to very confusing. We get Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, who are heels. They take on Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, who are heels. Well, so I thought. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were actually the baby faces in this match. Because Mandy Rose, she got the babyface beatdown. Because you know what the babyface beatdown is? One person gets beaten up in a tag team match, the heels tag in and out, gang up on the babyface, Mandy Rose, and then you get them locked in a chin lock, that whole scenario. So Mandy Rose, she was taking a babyface beatdown to ultimately lead to a hot tag to Sonya. This was so darn confusing, I clearly had no idea that Mandy and Sonya were babyfaces. I instantly assumed it was going to be Alexa and Nikki Cross. But they just don't know what the hell to do with Alexa and Nikki Cross. They keep hot potatoing these two back and forth between face and heel. Make up your mind. What are they? To be fair, I would not mind if Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were permanently babyfaces. I would not mind this, because the women's tag team division only has 4 teams. It only has 4 teams, and majority of their teams are heels. Alexa and Nikki, the Iconics, Fire and Desire, and their only face team are the Kabuki Warriors, who we probably will not see because Paige is out with neck surgery. You may as well just break them up. You may as well just have Asuka turn heel on Kairi Sane. Have those two feud in a singles feud. It's better off if you just have Asuka and Kairi as single stars. The women's tag team division is all over the place because they just don't have enough teams. And yes, it's the injuries as well. The injuries as well are also the main priorities here. Nia's injured. Ruby's injured. Tamina's injured. Naomi's not being used. Dana Brooke is on main event wrestling Sarah Logan. Alicia Fox is doing nothing. Mickie James is hurt. Liv Morgan is doing nothing. She's apparently going to tweak her character. The Iconics aren't being used ever since they dropped those titles. I'd be all for a Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville face turn. But you have to explain these things. You can't just magically make them baby faces. Babyface one week, heel next week. You can't determine that. You got to give us a reason to why Mandy and Sonya want to be the good guys or the good girls, whatever you want to call it. You got to give us a reason for them wanting to become faces. You can't just make them faces and expect the fans to take it. It felt awkward listening to the fans trying to rally for Mandy Rose to get a friggin' hot tag on Sonya. It just looked so ridiculously weird. Again, I'd be fine if Sonya and Mandy became baby faces, but you have to give us a reason for their face turn. You can't just make them faces for the sake of them being faces because they're versing the tag team champions. This was just so darn confusing, I literally do not know what to say. I love Mandy Rose. I want to see her become tag team champion with Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville's growing on me a little bit. She's got a lot of potential. Sonya showed potential. These two women, Mandy and Sonya, are potential future SmackDown or Raw Women's Champions if you give them enough opportunities. If you give them the chance. Just because Mandy is blonde doesn't mean she's going to get everything. And this is the thing. People like to use the blonde hair excuse. Well, which blonde does Vince McMahon love more? It seems like he loves Alexa more than a golden goddess. He prefers a goddess over a golden goddess. Hair color means nothing. So that's my rant on that. I am not a fan of WWE just magically making baby faces and heels. I actually want WWE to give me a reason why Mandy and Sonya are faces. They're probably going to go back heel the next time we see them. So next we had another first round match. We had this second first round match of the King of the Ring tournament. We had Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn, and Cedric Alexander got the win with a lumbar check. And you know, on WWE's Twitter, I want to bring this up because I saw this, and this is stuck into my mind for a while. If you guys saw what WWE labeled it, I've got it on my Twitter, so I'll be able to read it out for me to remember. Because I actually retweeted. I actually retweeted it. It says here. It says here. Cedric Alexander. He just checked Sami Zayn's lumbar all the way to the victory in the King of the Ring tournament. And I'm thinking, he just, what? Checked Sami Zayn's lumbar? What? That is by far one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard WWE in their Twitter say. Why couldn't they just said Cedric Alexander gets the win with the lumbar check? And I'm loving Vic Joseph. This is what I mean. This is why I friggin' love a show without Corey Graves, because the commentary is actually a lot better. And to be perfectly honest, I hope this means there's no more Corey Graves. He just stays on one show. I'm sick and tired of Corey Graves being on 2 different shows. I want him on one show. Keep him on one show and keep him there. Unfortunately, that means we're going to have to be dealing with him on SmackDown. But you know what? That's fine. As long as he's on one show. It's all that matters to me. I think it's time for WWE to start grooming the future of commentators. Like Vic Joseph. Like Nigel McGuinness. Like Mauro Ranallo when he eventually gets brought up. But yeah, Sasha Banks had her segment. She didn't really say much. Apparently all she said was, "You're welcome." I think she said a couple of other things, but I'm not really sure. But I'm not really sure because I didn't really watch the segment. I was going to watch as much as I could on YouTube so I can get an idea on what was going on. But Sasha would eventually attack Natalya again. And the one thing that Sasha Banks said really stuck out to my mind, and it really makes me appreciate. It actually makes me understand why people really love Sasha Banks as a heel, and it's made me realize what I've missed out on when I didn't watch Sasha Banks as a heel in NXT. Sasha Banks says to Natalya, "Go to hell. Tell your dad I said hi." Wow, that was very cold. I remember one of my friends getting mad at Ruby Riott for saying what she said about Natalya. So, and her dad. So, wonder how he would react to Sasha Banks saying that about Natalya's dad. But anyway, the main event, like I said, Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, they defeated Luke Gallows and Kyle Anderson to become Raw Tag Team Champions. You guys heard me talk about this at the start, so I don't need to rehash myself again. So, there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts. That is my thoughts and opinions on Monday Night Raw. That is my review of it. Was Raw a good show? You know, it was actually alright. There were a couple of things that didn't make sense, like Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville being faces. Even though I'm all for that idea of them being faces. I just think they just need to get rid of the wildcard rule. They need to remove the wildcard rule. I'm okay with them having tag teams, especially for the women, wrestle on both brands. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the 24/7 title being elevated between all different brands as well. But they just need to remove the wildcard rule. That's all I think they need to do. So, those are my thoughts, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up. Comment your thoughts down below. And I'll see you all tomorrow for my SmackDown review.